Good afternoon and welcome everybody. Apologies for starting a few minutes later, past 1 p.m. GMT. Thank you for joining us for this webinar on the future of customer experience and how location and AI play a role together. To introduce myself, I'm James. I'm the VP of Sales at WooZmap and will be your host for the session today. Joined with me here today is JT, the CEO and founder of WooZmap, and also Vernon Fernau, who is the lead solution engineer at WooZmap. So to take you through the agenda of what we're going to cover off today, we'll give you a bit of an overview of the current state of the market, its current challenges, and then we'll take you through how Kia has combined conversational AI with location to address these challenges, and we'll show you a demo of it live in action. After this, then there will be a short fireside chat with JT and Lucas, followed by a Q&A session. So just as some housekeeping rules, please feel free to ask questions in the chat throughout the session. There will be a Q&A towards the end of the session, and if there's any questions that we don't cover off, there will be a follow-up email that comes after. And just so you're all aware, the webinar is being recorded, so if anybody couldn't make it today, it will be shared after the session, so feel free to pass this on. So to kick things off, I'll hand over to JT to introduce himself and WooZmap.
Thanks, James. Hello, everyone. I'm JT, so founder of WooZmap. Today, we're going to talk about location intelligence and AI-based conversations. On the WooZmap side, if I introduce the company for those who don't know us, we are a team of geographers, engineers, developers, and data scientists. We work on maps and locations to build a platform for developers so they can implement via our APIs location intelligence into their websites and their apps. Most of our customers are in the enterprise side of the business. They deploy intensive usage of location intelligence in their apps, we served on the past 12 months nearly 15 billion queries, so it means 15 billion sessions that have been personalized by location, thanks to our community of developers. Today we're gonna talk also about a live person. Unfortunately, Lucas was supposed to attend to our meeting now, but I will cover his slides. So a quick introduction of who is a live person. Live person was founded in 1995, so very consistent experience in digitalizing conversations on the market with a huge amount of customers, global customers. What they do is they help all the brands building digital conversations between their customers and the brand. A bit like us, they provide tools to personalize the relationship between the consumer and the brand, to provide services and so on. And there is a big trend on the market right now is about adding artificial intelligence, especially LLMs, into this industry. And this is what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to mix conversational AI plus geolocation context.
Thank you, JT. Yeah, so let's take a quick look at the market today then. Customers expect a fast and personalized service at every touch point, whether that's email or phone or traditional chat desk. And normally these chat desks historically have been staffed by people, humans, and that's no mean feat when you're trying to do 24/7 help, and it's obviously it's expensive as well. There are some downsides to it as well. I mean, there's the whole when too many people try and get in touch at the same time, does it scale well? So there's some issues with it, with the state of play today. So to keep up, how do we overcome these things? Businesses are quite rightly starting to investigate, the world of AI, and can it help streamline processes and cut those times to things being answered, cut costs and boost satisfaction. I think we've all seen a chatbot in the past where maybe it's been a bit generic and it hasn't quite answered what we need. So any sort of AI chatbot today should be conversational, and it should have that fluency to be context aware and relevant to give the right answers.
Yeah, so what you can see on this slide is that LivePerson did a research together with a research firm, of course, where they discovered that there was a bit of difference between what the consumer are expecting and what the business leaders are expecting. What you can read here in that slide is last year there were 62% of the consumer felt positive about engaging with AI. I think they were discovering the tools thanks to the public availability of OpenAI, for example, giving free chat, AI-based chat for everyone on the planet. So people were expecting a lot from this, even if it was not a POC, but the first time users of this type of solutions and technology. And after a while, this year, it dropped a little bit. It didn't dive so much, but dropped a little bit to 50%, because I think the consumer got a better experience with AI conversations, that there might be sometimes some hallucinations, sometimes some issues with the large language models that you can use as a consumer, like the ones that are open on the market. In the same time, business leaders feel very positive, 91% using AI to engage with customers, because they have more than the intuition that it should help posing automated, hyper-personalized conversation. And this is where there is kind of a gap, but where LivePerson purpose is to provide solutions in order to tailor business rules expected from the brand and conversations for the customer.
Thanks, JT. So let's look a bit more at the key market challenges then in the AI chatbot world. So some chatbots in the past have kind of missed the mark. I mentioned this before, kind of given a generic response or maybe a lack of personalization. And that's a shame, because it does leave a lot of that potential untapped. Human agents, as I've mentioned, can get overwhelmed if there's too many chats coming in. They've only got one pair of hands. So sometimes that doesn't scale so well, as do the operational costs, which we all know to be high. And there are also other challenges, like how do you make the experience of your digital channels, for instance, trying to find a store online on your website, how to make that experience match the same experience to get the same answers from the AI chatbot or the human chatbot. So there's a few things there that all need to sort of line up and fall into line. So yeah, how do we close that AI gap? So the first thing is you've got to delight the customer with the experiences that they've come to expect from the leading consumer tools they've already been seeing. So that's got to be the first thing. And you've got to leverage those advancements in a safe, responsible way, with that data. And last but not least, you've got to make sure that those specific tasks can be achieved during those interactions with AI. There's nothing more frustrating than talking to what you might feel is a chatbot. It's hard to tell sometimes, and then not quite getting the answers you need. That you need to really deliver in the best way. So let's look at some more specifics. If we look at Kia UK, we can sort of really see the experience they've had going down this exploring this route. So what was their challenge? I mean, what were they trying to achieve? They were trying to get an improved dealer locator experience using AI and geolocation. They wanted to take the tedious questions away from the dealers, the salespeople, and free them up to deal with the more important job of selling cars. So what was the challenge? So simple questions like where's the nearest dealer, often requiring human help, and that's what they were doing initially, human help desks. this was slow, and it did come with a significant cost attached. So that was the challenge. That was how can we improve this bit? So the goal was to replace the human element with something faster, something that could scale bigger, that could take on more questions, and and not struggle. But not just that, the quality of the answers is extremely important. So you've got to enhance that customer experience. You've got to be just as good as the human, if not better. Otherwise, you're going backwards, and that's not the goal. So the goal is to improve the customer experience and deliver conversations which give the answers. And to give those answers in a really good way, you do need to know the location-based context. If you're giving postcodes or saying where's the nearest dealer to me, the AI has got to have that really rich knowledge now that it gets from the WooSmart platform to give those location context-sensitive answers. Okay, so that's the goal. What was the solution? How did we get there from the challenge to the goal? So Kia integrated LivePerson's AI chatbot, and that was powered or augmented by WooSmap's location tech. WooSmap is, as JT mentioned, that big geolocation platform, that enterprise-grade location-aware platform. And we've been dealing with Kia now for over 5 years. We do all their store locators and things like that. So we know all about their dealerships, where they are, the latitude and longitudes, the postcodes attached to them, all the other ancillary information like web addresses, telephone numbers, opening hours, etc. We've got all that. So that was hooked into the LivePerson AI chatbot to create this richer experience, which was fast, accurate, location aware, etc. And yeah, some of the things you get out of that, instantly locate the nearby dealers based on the customer's location. Very important. Also, we need to be quick, so provide fast answers to these location-specific questions. It can be done quickly, and just give that sort of consistent experience across all the customer interactions, so that they're getting what they need in a consistent way. So talking about it's one thing, but perhaps at this point we can probably go to and have a bit of a demo. I say demo, it's actually the live Kia customer website. So you can all visit this, after the call. So it's not really a demo, it's the real thing. And what I'll do is I'll just go there now and we'll see if we can ask it a question. I've already gone to this page here. You can go to any page. The chatbot opens on the right. Here is the LivePerson chatbot assistant here. So I'm going to say, where are the nearest dealers to me? So it's asking me for a postcode. I'll just type that in, FY69FH, that one should do. And then it's going to basically give me a list of dealers. So let's just scroll up a bit. Apologies if this is a bit small. But basically what it's done is I've given it a postcode because it's recognized the intent of what I'm asking, where are the nearest dealers to me? It doesn't know where I am, so it's asking, hey, give me a postcode. I give it the postcode. This is the WooSmap bit under the scenes where it translates that into a lat long. We use an API for that. We use a few other APIs to search the list of dealers in the WooSmap platform, return those back into the chatbot, and then we display them here. We can see there's one here. There's probably 3 or 4 answers. And you can see they're sorted by distance. So the nearest one here is at the start. The one furthest away is down the other end. It also gives travel durations, a lot of information about the address, postcode, the name of the dealership, its ratings, website. There's a conversion button. This is very important to Kia. You click on chat with dealer and it takes you to that specific dealer. And now when the salesperson at the dealership gets that inquiry, they no longer have to answer, where is the nearest dealer to you or anything tedious. They can get on with the more higher quality questions and really helping that customer. So yeah, basically all this here is powered by the WooSmap side of things to give a very quick, easy response. So I'll just go back.
And I guess just to understand, Vern, as well, in Kia's example here, they've actually used their own business logic to work out which is the nearest dealership. So it's not as simple as just doing a location calculation. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, these distances are road accurate. So because of the interesting geography of the UK, sometimes there's bridges, canals, coastlines, and something across an estuary or a bay, it might seem quite nearby as the crow flies, but if you were to drive around that bay and across a bridge, it might not be the nearest. And so all this kind of logic is taken care of by the WooSmap system and fed into those business rules that Kia stipulated.
So that's good to know, because I think for all sorts of different use cases that we have in retail. So if you've got an e-commerce experience where it's product availability, things like that, all of these rules can be built into the logic of the location element and the AI as well. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. So it's a live person's really good at looking at these business rules and then making sure that the chatbot itself and the AI component is maximized to achieve those rules. And of course, a lot of this does need a location context building in, and that's where the WooSmap platform comes in to augment that.
Yeah, because that's the more or less the challenge of deploying such an experience. We want to make it very personalized for the user, as personalized as it would be served by a human. But in the same time, we need to make sure that it's accurate, and that's the big challenge with off-the-shelf LLMs, that they contain pieces of the data, but it's very hard to implement those business rules. That's the reason why Kia did rely on live person business rules capacity and WooSmap business rules capacity as well, I think.
Cool. So thank you for taking us through that demo, Vern. So just to recap, you've taken us through where Kia started, which is at first they had a chatbot which was manned by human beings behind the scenes to answer the questions. They've then gone through that journey to deploy a chatbot, but actually finding that part of their analysis was, as people are asking questions in the chatbot, they're asking, where's my dealership? And then the customer care agent on the other end is actually then having to search on the store locator anyway to find that result. So by marrying the two technologies together, there's been a cost saving from a human element side, but also an improvement to the customer experience. So thank you for taking us through that demo and that summary. Next, we will do a Q&A. So we have some questions lined up ready for JT, but if anybody else that has joined today has some questions, feel free to add these into the chat, whether they're technical, non-technical, we will do our best to answer now. So to kick off the first question I have ready for you, JT. So if there was one recommendation you could give as an industry insight to watch out for in 2025, what would that be?
Yes, that's a question we can solve in 1 minute, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour, 1 year. It depends because it goes really fast on the market. So definitely, I think based on the topic we tried to cover during that webinar, one of the big industry trends in my mind is at the intersection between AI, LLMs, and location, geolocation, in order to provide the most accurate customer experience. It's not just like simulating intelligence with LLMs, it's really being accurate and serving the interest of the company, the interest of the brand, which is providing the right service to the right person in the right location. So my advice, based on my experience, is I encourage everyone in this webinar to become really the really first early adopters to that combination of conversations and location intelligence context. James, I don't know if you remind this, but it reminds me our having conversation with our customers at the beginning of the 2010 or 2015 even, when we were talking to our customers saying, hey, it's very important to have a location-based strategy. And the starting point was only to be very accurate in bringing their store, accurate store location data on top of maps into their websites. It was even not e-commerce website at this time. It was just to generate traffic. But then little by little, our customers learned to manage that data, to be very accurate, to bring enough data to build those business rules at a time where nobody was really understanding really deeply the impact of being strategic like this. And then COVID came, and the ones that were ahead, that did the investments, were did connect location context to their website or their e-commerce website, did move really fast to curbside pickup, click and collect, and so on, implemented geolocation journeys into their e-commerce, and did win the race after COVID because the market changed. And we believe that this AI-based experience for consumers will be one of the main channel for personalization or personalized relationship between the brand and the customer. So that's my advice.
Cool. Thank you, JT. And I think we'll take, we've got one more question lined up for you, and then we'll jump into the questions that have been asked in the channel. So thank you everybody for asking them. So similar-ish question, but a bit more of a longer lens required for you, JT. So what do you see as the future role of location and conversational AI? So not next year, but what about next year and beyond?
It's a tricky question. We see a trend again, and I think it would be a mix of what we see today and innovation that will come and that are very hard to predict. So what we see today is that conversations are way more part of digital journeys. And I can share a story of my personal life. My daughter, who is more than 20-year-old, now sends me messages, vocal messages, not even text anymore. I don't really know all the time how to deal with it. She says that it saves time for her, maybe not very much for me. So the thing is, if I would be automated, then it would be really faster because then her interaction would be way more fluid. So with an agent, instead of a website, or even instead of a human, I believe that this new Gen Z generation will look after new ways of consuming personalized services from our customers. And I can give you an example right now on what sophisticated conversation you could get in the future. So for example, take the insurance industry. Today, if you want to have a simulation for your insurance policy, you have to call the call center, spend time to get, what is quite normal data like your address, your location, or the address of your property in order to be quoted and scored in terms of risk. With this type of tools, you could automate it and expose it to millions of users instead of having a lot of friction, like you need to book a meeting, call a call center, having a human that takes many seconds, even minutes to answer your questions. So self-service is a big trend. Combined with vocal is really important for me, and I think that's the future. Maybe not replacing 100%, but at least make a new channel for at least the new generation that is coming.
And I think the answer to your question there comes on nicely to, I think, two of the questions that have been asked in the chat. So thank you, Dan and Gary. I'll try and combine these two questions into one. And it's probably for you, Vern, to answer. So the first question from Gary is, if you wanted to develop something like we've shown today, where would you start? And do we have any documentation to begin with? And then the question from Dan, which I think will tie in nicely to this, is this using the store search API from WooZmap? And if so, does the API response data contain the store information? How does WooZmap get that data? So I'll leave you to wrap that one up there.
Okay, so I'll start with Gary's, Dan's, I think, which is the latter question. It does use the store search API. And in fact, I'll tell the APIs very quickly that this solution uses. It uses the localities API to turn the postcode into a lat long. That's the first thing. Second thing, it uses the store search to take that lat long and search all the stores that are near to that lat long as the crow flies. The third API, distance API, is let's change those as the crow straight line distances into road accurate distances. How does that data get uploaded? I think that was the second part of Dan's question. That gets uploaded basically by the customer to the WooZmap platform. And once we have that in our project for that customer, that can then be harnessed by the LivePerson AI chatbot. So I hope that answered the question about the store search API. I've got a nice diagram I can send over, so do feel free to.
You love a diagram.
Yes, send one over. So let me know if there's an email or something I can pop that across, or just feel free to reach out to me. Let me answer the first question. I think that's from Gary, which is where do you start? How do you start? I keep it simple. The first thing is you'd need a WooSmap account, and in that WooSmap account, you would upload all your store data into a project. Once it's on the WooSmap platform, all that location awareness sort of lat longs and other ancillary information, addresses, telephone numbers, website addresses for each store, etc. Once that's all in there, that's the first step. The second step is LivePerson would engage and find out your business rules, and then the AI chatbot would be configured accordingly and trained to give the correct answers for whichever context that you need. And it would also hook into that upload that you did to WooSmap on your account to harness that information, to give it the location awareness, that context to the LivePerson answers. So just to summarize, where do you start? Open a WooSmap account, upload your stores. If you need help with that, I can help you. The second part would be to reach out to LivePerson, and then they will discuss your business rules with you, and they already know how to hook into the data you've uploaded to WooSmap to give the context awareness to the questions. Hope that answered that okay.
Just a quick add to that is we just released on the LivePerson marketplace page about WooSmap, so you can reach out via this channel as well to start implementing WooSmap and LivePerson together.
Cool, thank you guys. And another question that has come up in the chat is that is there lots of development effort cost to create something similar?
I think in terms of the development side, the first thing we do is we like to have a kickoff call with the customer to understand the goals, the challenges that you face, etc. And then if you give us that kind of specification, let's say at the end of that meeting, we can take that away. And a lot of the development and configuration, etc., is done by ourselves and LivePerson. And so and then that's handed over pretty much as a finished product to you to embed into your website.
Cool. And we have another question here from Christoph at OnFire. So thank you, Christoph. His question is there a tracking in this solution? So is there a way from an online marketing performance point of view in order to track these kind of events and things that take place as well? So if there's a booking a test drive, is there the option for the customer to be able to collect those events to analyze the performance?
I'm going to say absolutely yes. The metrics you can track from this are endless. There's all sorts of things you could measure. So how many times are you requesting the search API to search the places? How many conversions are made by clicking the button to book a test ride, for example? Great example. Yes, this can all be tracked, and those metrics can be used to see how successful a chatbot is. What are people needing? What is the conversion rate? Is it a higher conversion than traditional models or your previous way of of engaging with customers? Definitely, the metrics is a very exciting area.
Yeah, because it's you build call to actions at the end of the day in that conversation, so that those are completely open for tracking.
We have a few of the last questions that we'll answer now as we'll all hear. So from Francois, we have the Kia example is very interesting. Have we had any initial feedback from them?
Yes. So the Kia example, the initial feedback we got is that this has been used to take the strain away from 200 dealers, and they split themselves into sales and service. So it's more like they tell us it's more like 400 dealers in a sense. So it's a lot of overhead that this solution had to take care of, and so far the feedback has been really good. It's doing the job it was intended to do. It's meeting the goal. So we're very happy about that.